All right. All right, everyone, welcome in. All right. Hey, everyone, welcome in. This is the Ironman Mike Show, and I have a special guest in the house today. And that music right now that you're listening to is Ansel Brown. I've got him here in the house. So, hey, welcome in, Ansel Brown. Thanks for joining me today. Today is it is Wednesday, January 11th.
It's already Wednesday.
What's that?
It's already Wednesday. Can't believe it.
Happy Hump Day.
Oh,
Fantastic. So we are here doing a live recording, and I'm excited that he was able to join us today, and with such a busy schedule. And wow. So we met about 2.5 months ago at Richard's Coffee Shop in Mooresville, North Carolina.
yep.
And I think that's awesome. We've actually had a pretty cool friendship ever since then, and it's been going really well. We talked about planning on doing some really cool, funny videos in town, and doing some acting and do some really cool things, which we haven't done yet. I know we need to coordinate that, but hey, everyone out here wants to know who you are. Ansel Brown. Hey, you should Google him, check him out. But you've been with the space astronauts, NASA.
Yep.
You've sung country western rock music for decades. So tell everyone, introduce yourself. Tell everyone about yourself.
I'm Ansel Brown, and I am definitely, I guess you could say I'm interesting, and that more than just music. As an inventor, started out my life as a inventor. Invented a cat litter box. So my nickname for people that really knew me well was Turbo Turd, just so everybody knows.
That's nice.
It was fitting at the time, and then I moved into national branding, global branding, because that inventing that product opened all sorts of doors for me in terms of my branding design. So really, my bread and butter in my career has been branding. I've branded, products for M&M's, Master Foods, Family Dollar stores, Carolina Blonde. If you're a North Carolina person, you might have heard of that beer, and some others. A lot of grocery store work as well. I still do that today. Actually, I still brand and own an agency, and in that process, it kind of opened up a lot. And part of that was music and writing songs and then recording those songs and then, branding myself as an artist, which went really well. And I hit the scene in about 2007 with my partner in crime, who was Sean Gilbert at the time, a famous football player, NFL player. Played for the Redskins, the Rams, the Panthers, the Raiders, maybe one other in there. And him and I became pretty close through the music and through my branding work. And we had a really good time, really good run in Nashville. Kind of took over the scene in Nashville for a while. Had a debut, my album with the debut album that I had, which was called You're Just Smoke, which is on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to music. So if you ever look me up, look up Ansel Brown, and that original album was called You're Just Smoke. And it was the debut spotlight album for the Country Music Association, CMA.
Fantastic.
And Who Knew to Watch as well. And I got debut spotlight with Jewel, actually, if you know the artist Jewel. Her and I were both debuting at the same time, and we both got debut spotlight.
She's pretty hot.
Oh yeah, she yodels a lot.
Really?
Yeah, she does. She yodels a lot. I saw her in a few venues in Nashville when I was hanging around town and performing, and
I remember
she can yodel way better than me.
I remember the first time I heard her and saw a video. I think it was her. Man, she is just a stunning, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And, she was a young lady when I first saw her. I was in my 30s, yeah.
Okay.
And man, she's just, yeah,
Yeah.
she's pretty hot.
Yeah. She's a good looking.
Did I say she was pretty hot?
Yeah, I'll leave that to you, but yeah, she's very attractive. She was it was cool to kind of be, in that same vein. She was coming out from being a I don't know what music, pop or whatever. I don't know what her actual type of music was at the time, but she was switching into country. When I was coming into country music, a lot of people were getting into country music.
Right.
A lot of non-country music people were becoming country music artists. And I still think you have that today, because now country's kind of moved into the pop realm as well, the Southern rock realm. So a lot of people like country, a lot of people sing country, and it's not I'm not talking about the Texas two-step country or the traditional country. Though I love any type, I like bluegrass a lot. I like, the traditional country a lot, but I also like, modern rock style country, which is really more what my style is, I guess. I get a lot of people over the years have said when they heard my album, I never liked country music, but I love your music,
Oh, wow.
So I guess mine's more crossover than, at the time that was a good thing, because not everybody was doing it that way.
Right. I have a quick thing I want to interject. You mentioned bluegrass. I actually had a best friend in high school. I don't know, he's actually a musician as well. He ended up playing for, I believe it was John Michael Montgomery.
Oh yeah.
And he was he sung with him, and before that he did a lot of his own thing. Have you ever heard of Michael Leatherman?
It sounds familiar. The Leatherman sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I can't say that I know off the top of my head, but the name sounds familiar to me.
Well, yeah, I used to play bluegrass and country. He started a band called The Switch, and I think the other one was called Silver. I can't remember the whole band. Anyway, shout out to Mike Leatherman. What's up? Hopefully you're doing well.
Mike Leatherman?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in quite some time, but other than that, you mentioned bluegrass, and I thought I'd
No, that's cool.
mention that. I have a little background. I used to go to all his gigs and so forth, and it was pretty cool.
John Michael Montgomery was one of my favorites growing up listening to country music. So I could say that he had some influence on me. I don't sing like he does necessarily, but
Right.
I definitely liked. I actually did one of his songs in my concerts on a pretty regular basis. I tell you what it is, if I could remember. It's been so long since I said "Be My Baby Tonight," I think is what it was. "Be My Baby Tonight." So
Okay.
at that one, I actually rocked that song pretty good. Like, that was a very energetic song for me.
So those of you that are just joining us, I'm with Ansel Brown, singer, songwriter, and extraordinary. You got to play with NASA, and you got to sing your song, went to space, right? So, matter of fact, you were playing a song also right before the beginning of this podcast, and you want to tell us about both those topics?
Yeah. So I think if I were to tell anybody what I do, that it puts me in a different place than most singer-songwriters, is that I've been able to align certain songs with certain causes. And it started with hospital work in children's hospitals. I had a thing called the Bigger Heart Tour, and really just some amazing things happened in that process. And that led to a song called, I teamed up with the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, and Sir Purr, who's their mascot, and the Levine Children's Hospital. And we did a tour with them called the Bigger Heart Tour to hospitals around the country.
Nice.
In the Southeast to start. And I wrote a song in the process called "One Wish." And so if you look up on YouTube, if you look up "One Wish" by Ansel Brown or "One Wish Ansel Brown," you'll see the video. It's a very moving video. you'll see Sean Gilbert in it, who was my business partner, and then you'll see Sir Per and the kids that I worked with. But that kind of led to me realizing that my music could be used for good. And so I would typically start, I didn't write all my music. I wrote some of my music. I used a lot of really well-known writers in country for some of my songs. Because I think there's too much talent out there to just think you're the god of writing,
Sure.
and you should only sing your stuff. If I could tell any artist, don't just rely on your own songs. It's cool to write your own stuff, but if you only write your own stuff and you never sing anybody else's stuff, you're missing out on potential just amazing songs.
Right.
Because songwriters that don't sing and don't perform, who write amazing songs, are an incredible group of people. And I would just tell any up and coming artist or new artist, don't think that you have to write all your songs. Please just go out and make connections in the writing community you're in, and share the wealth, man. Try to make somebody famous, and that might make you famous. So sorry, that went off on a tangent, but
Oh, no, you're fine.
I think I'm more of a counselor than an artist anyway. I mean, to be honest, that's kind of my thing. I like talking. So
Sure, no problem.
But getting back to the children's hospital stuff, we had some real miracles happen in that process. And the song that I wrote was about a little girl who made a wish in Charlotte, and she was dying. Her name was Hope Stout. And at the time, this was back in 2002-ish period. There was hardly any money left in the Make-A-Wish Foundation in the Charlotte region. They were almost defunct. She was dying, and she made a wish, and her wish was that all the kids in Charlotte would get their wishes.
Oh, wow.
Not her going to Disney World, not her going to, doing something for herself, but that she would make a wish that would give all the kids their wishes. And the Carolina Panthers got behind her, and they ended up, raising, well over $1 million.
Oh, beautiful.
And going to the Super Bowl at the same time didn't hurt. And then she died before they actually made it to the Super Bowl. And so I wrote a song about her called One Wish, and it's basically, what would you do if you had one wish? And it's on my first album, and you can listen to it on Spotify under Ansel Brown. But it's
Can we hear this song?
do you have Spotify? Do you have an Apple account or a Spotify, Apple Music, or?
I have a guitar waiting for you right now.
Oh, I don't even know if I remember the words right now, to be honest.
Spotify, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have Spotify, so.
yeah. So okay, so
Forgot to hit income notes. Snafus. Sorry about that, everyone.
so we're gonna be getting calls on a regular basis.
Hey, we can actually bring them in. Who was
Yeah,
it?
we could just answer and just say hello, and we can punk them.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
who was it anyway?
It didn't say, it just had a number.
Oh, okay.
So-
Sometimes scam calls come through, and we could have did one of those.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, use your refrigerator right.
Dude.
Um,
Actually, technically, I'm doing live at the moment, but if I had another device, we could have pulled it up on YouTube.
oh yeah, that would have been cool.
I don't have any other devices here. Oh, I have a tablet downstairs. I guess we can.
I mean, I have my computer here if we want to connect it somehow. I don't know if we can.
It can, I think the sound can go through. Yeah, I have a port right here. Do you have a C port?
It's a C. It's C.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, there you go.
So we just need to unplug mine here and plug yours in. And you want to pull it up first before you
Yeah, let me do that.
all right.
I'm just,
I love live podcasts. This is awesome. So we're doing a live recording while he's doing that. Hey, this is the Ironman Mike Show, and thanks for joining us today. We're doing a live recording here in Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm here with Ansel Brown. He is the extraordinary singer, one of the most, interesting.
this is the most
men.
interesting, no, the most interesting singer in the world.
There you go.
I claim that title. I don't care if anybody else has it. I'll lay it out for you over time. You can read about what I've what I've done with my music and my work, but
Fantastic. Hey, I'll roll with that. Absolutely. Hey, we'll take a moment here while he's setting that up. We're going to go ahead and recognize our sponsors. Hey, so our first sponsor is ehsplanning.com. Hey, if you need your environmental health and safety needs met with your organization, please reach out to ehsplanning.com. They will take care of any emergency action plans, policy writing, active shooter awareness, hostile event response awareness training. You can have them come to your site and do site walks, surveys, and any type of on-site environmental health and safety needs that you need for your program, as well as any type of training per OSHA. They are authorized outreach trainer. Go to the OSHA.gov website, tag outreach trainers, and type in Dublin, and environmental health and safety planning will come up. That's environmental health and safety, ehsplanning.com. So sorry, I got my tongue twisted there with the name. All right, hey, back to the Ironman Mike Show, and we got some really cool music. Are you all queued up?
no, because I don't have a wire,
Yeah, we just need to unplug this right here. Hey, give us 30 seconds here.
and I'm not sure how to make sure it's coming out of the port. Maybe it'll just,
It'll go straight in.
oh, accessory allow, okay. And then let me start the song, and then this is One Wish, was written about Hope Stout. Anyway, her dad he's a big inspirational speaker. He goes on tour, speaks, and Stuart Stout, look him up, and he he started using this in his speeches, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And
All right. Hey, once again, thank you for being here today. We appreciate you joining us. This is the Ironman Mike Show. We are live in Mooresville, North Carolina. And hey, if those of you that would like to call in, we do have live requests. If you want to call in, we have a call-in number, 925-570-4867. But hold off on calling right now until after we're done with this call, because I'll have to end the call. I'll repeat the number again in a minute when we're ready to receive some calls.
so I can start playing it if you want to see if it's working. So let me see, output device.
Oh, it'll work. It'll start playing as soon as you hit the button. Okay. There you go. So Ansel Brown here, live in the studio, and he's had an opportunity to meet some astronauts. He has a really cool song. Also, we're gonna play a few of his songs. However much of it you want to play.
It's playing right now, but I don't hear anything.
Okay, let's see here. Can you turn your volume up on your phone? There we go.
It's coming through my computer now. One wish. Oh, here we go. I got it now. Now it should work.
All right. Hey, love that technical. There we go. Hey, that's what makes live recording awesome. So
It should be coming through the C connector.
yeah, this is all connected to, and I have it on currently. So
I'm not hearing it. It's on your USB.
yeah,
Yeah.
I heard it a second ago.
Well, it was coming through my speakers. I think you were just hearing it ambiently. The ambient is through the.
Yeah, no, I'm connected. We're good here.
Or maybe it stopped when I changed the. Yeah, it stopped.
That's okay. Just put it next to your microphone. That would work.
Oh, I'm gonna end up knocking stuff over.
All right, everyone. So
Would you say before yourself? Maybe
It's gonna come out.
if you had one wish, you do with it. Would you say before yourself? It on someone else. Maybe use it as a way to breathe another day. Or would you find it in your heart to make this world a better place? So what would you do? You are the best yourself. If you one wish, you can be with it. Tell me, would you be a star or just be who you are? Do you think that you can give it up someday?
that's all right.
Yeah, so that's one wish, and the gist of that song is just, you know, what would you do if you had a wish? Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I'll email you the two other songs.
Nice.
That way you can just play it through your system instead of me trying to do that.
No, no worries.
That'll help you. But that song, so that work was amazing. I was heavily involved with children and children's hospitals. I mean, to the point where the hospitals would have me go in and meet with the families individually in their rooms. I never asked if a kid was, you know, dying or just sick or, you know, just, you know, going to recover. Never wanted to know that about any of the kids I was meeting.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, just
That can be hard on your psyche, your mental health.
and not just that, but you know, it was an escape, not only for me, but for the kids and their families. So doing it, you know, a lot of hospitals won't allow artists to go into the rooms. They get them in the playroom, in the, you know, in the lobby or whatever they do their shows. They meet the kids and they sign autographs and things like that.
Sure.
But with me, it was, you know, I was in the ICU units. I was in the rooms of the individual kids. And we actually had miracles happen. I'm not joking when I say we have miracles. I had an instance where there was this little girl, and they warned me before I went, and she's actually in the video. And when you see her in the video, you see her excitement. But before I went into that room,
Nice.
they said she will not smile, she will not talk. She's in incredible pain. And By the time I left that room, the nurses were all in tears.
Oh, my goodness.
It's giving me a lump in my throat and goosebumps to this day. Because the connection that I had with that child, and it was just one of the most inspiring moments of my life. And I had a lot of those with working with children's hospitals, but this one was particularly special. And when I watch the video to this day, it's like that girl, I don't know whatever happened to her, but it's just one of those things that she lit up.
Wow.
And they said that would never happen, and it happened.
Wow.
And
definitely sound like she tugged at your heartstrings there, buddy.
oh my goodness, yeah. And
That's awesome.
so after that experience, it led into other things with other organizations. Ronald McDonald House. I took the good story there is the Charlotte Ronald McDonald House, which is an amazing place. I took Rona, who was the head of it, to I had her meet me in my tour bus, along with the NFL alumni leaders. We all met in my tour bus, and I put those two organizations together. And from that point on, I used to go to the NFL alumni events to work with the NFL alumni. And I put them together. And from that moment on, I don't know if it's still to this day, but at least for a long time after that meeting, they became the official sponsor recipient of the annual golf tournament that the NFL alumni would put on in Charlotte. And they helped raise the money to build the Ronald McDonald House that's here now. And nobody really knows that I did that, right? It was just one of those things. And
Are they still doing the golf tournaments?
oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure that the COVID kind of messed with everybody's events, but I'm assuming they're still doing them. I haven't been involved in a while. I moved away from Charlotte, and I kind of.
That's fantastic. I love hearing stories like this. This is great. Yeah, we should look into it because I actually play golf and I'm okay.
Oh, you would enjoy their tournaments. I mean, it's fun. You get to meet, NFL stars of yesterday and not too long ago.
Sure.
And now, really heartbreaking to me is that Dave Butts, who was one of the original hogs for the Redskins,
I remember him.
won a couple Super Bowls himself. And I met him at one of these events during the poker night, because they do a poker night thing. And I'm just, I was just there as an artist and hanging around and, I wasn't really playing poker too much, even though I wanted to. I was more just making appearances.
Yeah.
And he walked up to me and he's like, "Hey," it's like, I was like, "You don't understand. You're like a god to me almost." It was like, because I grew up a Redskins fan.
Right.
Sorry, Commanders. I don't, think it's still the Redskins.
That's okay. I'm a 49er faithful.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel sorry for you, but anyway.
That's why we keep.
Yeah. Hey, there were some bad years though that you guys went through.
Oh man, years have been horrible.
Yeah, you know what it's like, and we're going through that now as a Panther fan.
We're actually doing really well right now.
Oh yeah, and you got Christian McCaffrey, which is
13-4 right now.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But Christian McCaffrey's awesome. So he came up to me and we were talking, and he just out of the blue, he goes, "Hey, you want to hold my rings?" Because I was looking at how big his rings were. And these big gold ring, you're like, on an offensive lineman, they're a lot bigger than on a receiver.
Sure.
So he takes them off of his fingers, and he's like, "Here," and I put a hand out. He drops them into my hands, and they go through my hands and hit the floor.
Why?
And of course, I'm thinking I'm going to get beat up or something, because I just dropped Dave Butts' Super Bowl rings, and he just died, by the way, a couple months ago, which that was heartbreaking to me. Yeah, just out of the blue. I didn't know he had any illnesses or anything, so I was depressed about that. But when he dropped him, he looked at me and he gave me this stern look, and then he laughed. He's like, "You wouldn't believe how often that happens," because the rings are so heavy.
Oh my God.
You're not expecting it to weigh as much as they do, And especially being an offensive lineman, they're even heavier.
Oh
So
my God, more gold to go around those fingers.
yeah, so they clinked on the floor and I picked them up and I, hoped I didn't get hit or wouldn't get
Face
hit.
turned beat red.
Oh yeah, I was
Like our flag behind us here.
that was an embarrassing moment.
Oh,
And
man.
but it was cool. He was just so cool about it because I guess it had happened multiple times. And and I got to meet George Rogers and Joe Gibbs and
Oh, nice.
all the famous yesterday guys that I used to bust tables for. I used to bust tables for the Redskins at their away at their home games when they would stay at Dulles Airport, Hilton or something like
Wow.
that. And so I got to meet I got to meet all the greats: John Riggins, Daryl Green.
Actually, I know all these names. As
Yeah.
a 49er living on the West Coast for decades, born and raised. The only reason why I know these names is because they became either in the Hall of Fame or
Yep.
they made themselves a name during games. They'd get recognized a lot because they did very well.
Oh yeah.
Whether it was the coach, I knew a lot of the coaches, but yeah, they were a powerhouse back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Back
Yeah.
in the
In the 80s.
80s, 90s.
Up until 90, they were a powerhouse. 90
That's
was
right,
their
80s.
last 90 they beat the Buffalo Bills, I think, in the Super Bowl. That was their Buffalo Bills third loss, I guess.
Yeah.
No, is that right? I don't know. I think it was around 90. Mark Rippon was the quarterback at that time.
Yep, I remember him.
I didn't meet Joe Theismann because he was always in his room getting he would get room service for him, and Kathy Lee Crosby was his girlfriend or wife. I don't know at the time, but they used to hide in the bedroom or hide in the hotel room the whole time. All the other players were down at the restaurant getting their meals.
Sure.
And he was the only one that was like, he never came out. Yeah. I got to meet Jack Kent Cook, who was the owner of the Redskins. He was the best owner.
Nice.
And and George Rogers handed me a bucket of Cokes. It was like a commercial.
Oh, nice.
That was when I was like 15 years old.
My only fun thing with the football NFL is the following. So my first marriage, my first wife, her sister married number 91 defensive end, Larry Roberts. And man, I used to go to the locker room. We used to go not to the locker room in it, but right where the families and friends would meet.
Yeah.
When the players, after they showered and come out and so forth, and got to meet obviously Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and man, I'm talking about Dwight Clark, Roger Craig. I mean, all the 80s guys. I mean, it was pretty cool. Used to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Roger Haley.
Roger Craig was a beast.
Yeah. And then of course when Charles Haley came on board, I remember one year, I think it was 89, 80s. I can't remember what year. Actually, I'd have to really dig deep. Maybe it was 89. Right before we moved to Hawaii. Anyway, because I lived in Hawaii from 90 to 96.
Okay.
So the year that they were in the Super Bowl, was it not 87? Because that was in Miami, if I recall. But the year, it was the Pro Bowl. Excuse me, it was the Pro Bowl.
Okay.
So Charles Haley gave my wife and I tickets through Larry Roberts, because Larry Roberts was my brother-in-law. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I realized that. Oh yeah, he was actually my brother-in-law now that I think about it.
That's right.
So do you remember Larry Roberts?
I remember the name, yes.
Yeah, he was big guy. I think he went to Alabama University, if I recall.
Okay.
But I don't quote me on that because I can't recall. I'd have to do some Googling. But yes, we went to the Pro Bowl. I actually have photos. I could probably pull them out. They're actually sitting in some boxes in the other room. And yeah, we got to go to the Pro Bowl. We had seats right in the front.
That's awesome.
Right next to the behind the bench.
Yeah.
Charles Haley gave me his tickets because they get tickets, and he didn't have any family coming, so he gave us 2 tickets. So we literally sat on the first row right there where all the players of 49ers were at while they were playing a game, and I'm like right there, and it was amazing seats.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And then the other cool thing that I have with the NFL is I was a mascot one year for the Pro Bowl. And what that meant is I was wearing a mascot outfit, and I'd go and we'd do different routines and stuff like that during the halftime. It was
Ah,
pretty cool because all the mascots of all the NFL teams used to go there.
yeah.
And so one year I was the Browns. I was the dog.
Oh, that's cool.
And I wanted the 49ers, but somebody he literally wanted to fight me over it. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So I put on the dog. Man, I got to crack with all the cheerleaders. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's cool.
So they called me the dog. So it was pretty fun.
The dog.
I have actually photos of it, so I'd have to pull those out.
So your new nickname is the dog
Yeah.
from now on. Hey, what's up, dog?
What's up, dog? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that's my NFL fun facts for me in my lifetime.
I have a lot of love for football. So I've been a coach, and my boys played, and yeah, it's my sport. You know.
Did you play? Because I played as well. I played in high school, and can you believe it? Look, I made my college team.
No, that's awesome, man.
San Jose City. You've heard of San Jose before, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. So I was at the city and San Jose, and of course, I ended up playing behind a guy named, I think his name, if I recall, was Marlon Earl. He was first string. He ended up, if I recall, he ended up becoming an All-American. He ended up transferring to Fresno State. And I think he went to the NFL. I'd have to Google that, but I lost track of him. But I played second string, and
That's cool.
I had a lot of play time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was the second shortest on the team, but one of the second fastest. That would always be the one or two when we finished, when we did our fence runs, the long distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, that's awesome. No, I played high school football, and then I tore my knee up, and actually the doctor, and I went to, I think it was, I want to say Walter Reed, I can't remember, it was the military hospital in DC area. And got my surgery there, and then they said, hey, you may not be able to ski again, you may not be able to do this. And I was like, really? But that never stopped me from skiing. I still ski to this day. But yeah, I didn't get to play in college because I was too scared of hurting my knee again, and so I didn't do that. And
well, you're a pretty big guy.
I was a defensive end.
Yeah, you told so earlier he shared with me when he walked in, he's 6'2", just shy of that. I guess as you get older, we start shrinking, right? So
Yeah,
I shrunk a little.
I'm sure my kids say that, yeah, Dad, you're not as tall as you used to be. Like, carry the weight that I carry around, man. And we'll talk about weight loss on this talk too today, because I've been going through that journey.
We can jump into that.
Well, real quick, do you want to talk about NASA, or do you want to?
Yes.
Because I know you said that in the beginning. I was trying to get there. I took the long road, which is what country singers do.
Well, let's
we take the long road.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, real quick before we get into NASA, I just want to thank everyone for being here today. So those of you that are just joining us, looks like I see some new people logging on. We're doing a live recording. This is the Ironman Mike Show. I'm Mike Urueta. You can find me. Please go onto my YouTube channel and subscribe to Mike, M-I-K-E, search U-R-U-E-T-A, search Mike Urueta. Log on to my YouTube channel. We just started uploading there. And the 100th subscriber, I will be sending them a Ironman Mike, like a tumbler, like a cup, with our logo on it, and we'll get that sent to you. If you're in the United States, free shipping. Unfortunately, if you're out of the country, unfortunately, you'll have to pay for shipping. Sorry. Yeah, so this is the Ironman Mike Show. This podcast is live out of North Carolina, Mooresville. And in the house today, we have Ansel Brown. Ansel Brown is the singer extraordinary, the most interesting man singer in the world. So definitely follow and subscribe. Real quick, before you get into NASA, tell everyone where they can find your music and what social media platforms can they follow you on.
So I think the best place to listen to my music is probably Spotify, because most people either use it or have it, have a subscription. But you can find me on any platform that you stream music on. So just look up Ansel Brown. There is an African poet named Ansel Brown as well. So you will probably see that when you search as well. And he's very good, actually. So there, more of us Ansel Browns popping up. I'm still the original though.
No problem.
Hey, so sorry, social media, Facebook, under Ansel Brown, Instagram, Twitter, Ansel Brown,
And I'll link it. I'll definitely
Yeah.
link it. when we
TikTok.
Get ready to.
TikTok and Clapper. You got me on Clapper, so
Yep.
I'm slowly trying to build that. I'm slowly trying to build TikTok. I've been kind of absent the last month, but I'll be getting back on. So
He's been on Clapper, a new app called, it's similar to TikTok. So if you want to follow Ansel Brown on Clapper, download the at your Apple store or your Android store, your Play Store, download the app called Clapper app. And then you could search for Ansel, Ansel Brown. And if you want to follow me as well, I'm blue check certified. I've got approximately 72K followers, and I'm Ironman Mike, just Ironman Mike, one word, and I'll go ahead and link both of our social medias. So those of you that are watching, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So some of you only have one direct camera that's pointing at me, but I'm going to be splicing all these recordings together. And I'm going to go ahead and post this on YouTube in a few days. So you'll have all our angles. So those of you that just see me or just him right now, that's
so I'm just a voice to half the audience.
So yeah, that's fine. Other than that though, yeah, so NASA, hey everyone, Ansel Brown's music has gone into space, and I'm gonna let you give all the glory, share all the facts.
Yeah, part of being the most interesting singer in the world, you have to do interesting things. So, one of the things that I can claim is writing a song that was used for all the final space shuttle events for NASA.
Nice.
And it was called When You Fly. You can find a video of it on YouTube. I don't currently have it out for purchase, but I will have it out. I just haven't put it up. And there's a reason behind that, but I did write it, so there's no writing issues. It's just, I have it down right now, and I'll have it up at some point again, and I'll start pushing it. But it's called When You Fly, and I wrote it, because at the time, my wife of that moment was a pilot and an FAA controller. And I was enamored, it was kind of an interesting thing. Our whole family were pilots. So I wrote a song called Fly. Basically with that as the inspiration. But as I wrote it, I was like, the final shuttle launch is going to happen in the next year or two. And I decided that I would send it to Johnson Space Center. Oops. There. To Johnson Space Center in Texas. You need something like this. In Texas, and I just sent it. I sent the song and I sent the words, and I said, hey, this song is about flying. It's about doing things that are incredible. And the head of the astronauts, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was great. She wrote me back. It was a little while, I just kind of sent it, and I didn't know if it would go anywhere. And she wrote me back and she said, hey, I shared this around the office. We love it. We're going to send it to DC, to the administration of NASA.
Nice.
And so it went there, and that was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years before the final space shuttle launch. And I didn't hear anything. I never got a call back once it went to DC. I checked in with her a couple times, and she was like, I know they like it. I just haven't, nobody's doing anything. Nobody said anything. So I would say like 2 months before the final space shuttle launch of the Atlantis, which was the STS-135, I think. I'm going on the top of my head, it might be 137, but I think it was 135. That I get a call from NASA. I'm actually filming a video for the organization that puts on the big fly-in up in Oshkosh. And so I was doing a When You Fly video at an airport, and I was sitting in the lobby or the conference room, And I got this call and David or somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, it's NASA." I was like, "Huh?" And they go, "Can you be here in 6 weeks and do your song for the final space shuttle launch?" They had looked at people like Beyonce and Clint Black and I don't know, Jimmy Buffett or I don't know who all they looked at, but they ended up choosing me to come in and sing.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and so I got to we planned it. I packed up, took my family. We all went and spent a few days with NASA down at Kennedy Space Center and performed in front of thousands of people before the final launch. And then I thought that would be it. And then they were like, "Hey, we're going to do something that not even we get to do as NASA employees. We're going to take you on a tour of the Endeavour, which was being disassembled to be put into a museum." And so they took, just to give you an example, they took like Obama under the shuttle and showed him the bottom of the shuttle in all its glory. He did not get to do what I got to do, which is climb around the shuttle all the way to the top of the tail.
Wow.
And it's a massive vehicle. It is not small. So we went up the scaffolding steps and we couldn't touch it physically because then you would get your residue on it's not like when you look at the white, it's soft material. It's not hard.
Right.
It's like a canvasy thick material. All the white,
It's like a hard gel because
no, it's not like a gel. It's like a fabric.
Yeah.
It's like a fabric.
Not a gel. It's
yeah.
Being in the Marine Corps, I remember talking with teams about this. I was part of a force reconnaissance unit, but it has to endure the extreme temperatures.
Yeah. Now, it may have something running through it that's like a gel too. I don't know. I can't remember the details, but we got details on every part of the shuttle. And but we weren't allowed to touch it, but we were allowed to get right up next to it. So I've got videos that will be coming out on my Clapper, on my YouTube, on my TikTok site that I've never shared with the public of my behind the scenes experiences around the shuttle. I will have those. There's a few out right now, but I'll have more coming out that I never shared of my experience behind the scenes with NASA.
Fantastic.
And so it was really nerve-wracking to do it. At the time it was a nervous experience for me because it was really the first major event that I had done with one of my songs. So I had a lot of nerve, and it was NASA, and it was the final space shuttle, and it was freaky to me. It was like, is this really happening? And then they took me up to the shuttle with the head of the shuttle program and had me take pictures in front of the shuttle Atlantis before it launched. Nice. And I got right up next to it and we took pictures, and then they took me for the launch. They took me and my family down to the front of the viewing area because you have to be I think it was about 3 miles away. You get killed if you're closer, and you had to be inside a specific thing to protect you from the concussion of the rocket.
Sure.
And
of course the extreme heat.
Oh yeah, and the heat, and we could feel everything across the bay. You could feel it, and I have one video that's up where it shows the launch, and the camera's shaking because it's so powerful. Jeez. And then after that, I got something led to something else just to show you how life goes. But we were waiting in a conference room after the launch, and I hear a voice in the conference room that I walked by, and it's like, "Autobots, roll out." Transformers.
Wow.
Optimus Prime. And I'm like, is that Optimus Prime? And so they were planning to introduce me to Peter Cullen, is his name, the actor. So they were like, yeah, Optimus Prime is here. Because they were debuting Dark Side of the Moon. Transformers movie was debuting at the launch. So they took me in and they introduced me to Peter, and he, shook all my boys' hands, and they were like, oh my God. It was just an amazing, I got video of that. It's pretty cool. And then I serenaded him with an a cappella performance of When You Fly.
Nice.
And he cried. That's how much he loves the space program. He got to tears. He stood up and we've been, I wouldn't claim I'm his friend, but I've had drinks with him in California. I write him every year at New Year's, and he responds. So it's cool kind of knowing Optimus Prime, I grew up loving that show and those movies. And but that led into writing a song called Our Country, which you need to look up if you can look up Our Country, Ansel Brown on YouTube. And Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, narrates the video.
Nice.
And he did that as a favor to me after I met him at NASA. And he's a huge supporter of veterans and children's stuff. We also work together on some children's things with NASA.
Very cool. Yeah, I've seen some of your Clapper videos.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool to see him in the one that you posted recently.
That was the first time I met him. That was right after I sang to him or right before I sang to him when he did that voice, and he says, Autobots roll out. Does it? Oh, you want to bring him in? So
I didn't know who it was.
yeah, the good old unknown number, or spam number. Right. That's always spam now. But what I'm getting at is that led to other things happening with another song called Our Country, and that led to another thing with NASA called Flying, which was a big NASA contest for youth across the U.S. And so I could go on. We could probably spend about 8 hours just talking about what each song did and what I used it for, and who the organizations were that I teamed up with. But everything from NASA to military veterans to children's hospitals to NFL football to the Panthers and their youth football program. I've done songs with a broad range of these organizations. And as a songwriter, a lot of songwriters just write songs, put them on their computer, try to pitch them if they're lucky enough, or try to sing them at their own shows if they're singers as well. And people I think are forgetting that we have a big world out there with millions and millions or billions of people, and there's a need for music all the time, and music is the way to the heart, and music is a way to touch lives and open people up to inspirational messages and to overcoming the odds and to accomplishing their goals and chasing their dreams. Music, going after the love of your life. Music has an impact on all of that. So don't think that your music, if you're a writer, don't think that your music is only for you or only for an artist that might sing it. Do something with your music. Don't be afraid to call and connect and network and find somebody to use your music, especially if there's some type of messaging in your music that can connect. I'll give you one that I haven't recorded yet, but I am going to record it. But it has a lot to do with it has a lot to do with texting and driving. And I think when people hear it, it's a very sad song, but it's also a very powerful song. And I think I'm going to try to connect it with the big. I don't know if you've seen the "Don't Text, Don't Drive" ads. Like a yellow.
California is just plastered with those.
Yeah, so I want to get it to them. So I'm going to try to connect it with that organization. I don't do this with every song, but if you have a song that has a connection potential, try to get it connected. Get somebody to record it if you're not an artist, or if you are an artist and a songwriter, record it and then get it out there. Don't just put it out for your fans. Try to figure out a broader way to use your music, and you never know what dreams will come true because you do that. And that's really what happened to me with the NASA stuff. And then it went on from there and got bigger and bigger. And when people hear that I did a NASA song, they're like, "Oh, you did the NASA song for the final space shuttle." It gives you a level of credibility, and then it's easier and easier to make things happen when you try to connect music with an organization. So sorry.
Now, real quick, I think I recall, and I think you mentioned that one of the astronauts took your music up into space, and did they play it while in space?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. They played it for the astronauts, I believe, that were in space, but I don't know. To say somebody took it up into space, I don't know where you heard that. It wasn't from me.
No, I meant, yes, I probably.
Oh, yeah, no, that happened.
So they played it while they were up there.
Yes, it was played while they were up there, and
That's what I meant.
and then they used and then they played a big video for all of the space shuttle people, all the public that was there to watch the space shuttle launch at the Rocket Garden. They had a big
screen.
Yeah, so I ended up doing the final space shuttle launch, the final space shuttle landing, which was very closed, not open to the public. It was for all the astronauts over the years came to it. The senators, the worldwide media was there.
Nice.
And I was one of the people. I did a radio broadcast, a national radio broadcast from the final landing. And that was an amazing experience. And then the final farewell ceremony to the shuttle program is where they played my video of when you fly to all the space shuttle employees, and it was about 8,000 employees that were losing their jobs. So they had me come and speak after the administrator of NASA spoke. So he got done speaking, and then I had to give a speech, and then I sang my song on stage there for that. And that was an amazing experience. But it's just one of those things that you don't ever see coming. Like, I went for the final space shuttle launch, and it turned into meeting Peter Cullen, doing all of the space shuttle events, seeing things that I never thought I would see. I got to sit in a control vehicle right outside the space shuttle Atlantis, right after it landed, with astronaut crew, not astronaut crew, with the technical crew, just looking over this amazing thing that something that it's one of the greatest accomplishments of mankind, the space shuttle.
Oh my God.
And to sit outside next to one that just returned from space was just like, you get goosebumps.
Right.
It's just like, just because of a song. That's the only and maybe a little bit of being able to do inspirational speaking, because I do that. But just that song made all of that possible. So if you're a songwriter, that's what I'm trying to get across here, is if you're a songwriter, you just don't know what one song can do. Not just
Inspiration, big time.
Yeah, not just for having a hit and becoming famous, but what good can you do with your song, or what exciting thing can you do with your song, and what organizations can you team up with? So that's really what I want to get across there. It turned into so much more, and it's because I didn't give up. I just kept pushing the song and trying to push people to listen to it, and eventually they go, oh yeah, we could do this song. This would be great. This is perfect. We'll have you, and we don't need anybody else.
No, that's amazing. I'm just excited that you're here sharing your story right now, because this is an amazing story. So shifting gears a little bit. So after this entire program, you took a little time off. I think I mentioned about 8 years ago, or 8 years you took off.
Yeah, from 14. Veterans Day was the last time I performed.
Okay.
In 2014. I went through a really bad divorce. It was a traumatic divorce for me.
Okay.
And it really it kind of ruined my music for me. It just ruined my passion. I don't know if it ruined my passion, because I've got it back now, but it definitely put me in a bad place.
Kicked you off your horse for a minute?
Yeah. And then I did develop, a couple years after that, I developed AFib. And even if I wanted to start performing again at that point, about 2018, 19, I tried to do a show in Charlotte, and I was getting AFib so bad. I have what's called early onset AFib. And I was getting AFib so bad that I couldn't, like the week before the show, I was getting it like every 6-7 hours.
So
And-
those that are listening that don't know what AFib is.
Atrial fibrillation. It's where your heart is erratic. Some people don't even know they're getting it, because you can have a pulse rate of like 85 to 102, and it's going blah, 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 blah. But you can't really feel it because it's not fast enough.
Sure.
But it's still AFib. And mine, though, would go up to like 150 every time I got it. And I would always get like this little headache, and I knew it was coming on. Like I'd wake up feeling a little off, and then it would, sure enough, it would come on later in the day. And it would shoot up at times to like, I don't know, it must have been like 350 beats a minute, where it was like a machine gun in my chest.
Holy jeez.
And
What do you do to combat that?
well, I almost passed out several times, and I had to, no, I didn't, I couldn't perform. Because I was getting it the week of the performance, I had to back out because I was getting AFib so much. I didn't want to go on stage and pass out. So I canceled. I was like, I can't do it. So that kept me from coming back sooner than I did. But I would have to kneel down and put my hands on the bed or my elbows and lay my head on the bed and try not to pass out. That's how bad it would get. And nothing wrong. I had no blockages, nothing unhealthy with my heart. No, I don't have high cholesterol or anything. It's electrical. And your lungs actually control your heartbeat electrically.
Right.
So there was something going on with the electrical beat of my heart. And so in 2020,
Broken heart.
yeah, well, I always say that I developed twitches when I went through that stressful time. And there's little twitches all over my body, like not like one big twitch. It was like lots of little twitches.
Wow.
And it was because of the way my body was handling the stress. There was nowhere for that stress to go. So my body learned to control the stress with twitches. And I always to this day wonder if that kind of led to my electrical issues with my heart, because that's what twitches are. It's electrical,
Right.
And
Is that kind of like when you get twitches falling asleep?
like when you wake up.
No, when you start to fall asleep, you start.
No, that's because your brain, there is a reason for that. That's because your brain literally, you ever hear of night paralysis?
Yes.
Okay, so your brain switches off.
Right.
And when your brain switches off, your muscles, you're paralyzed. You don't know you're paralyzed, but you are paralyzed. So if something wakes you up when you are fully asleep and your body is in that paralyzed mode, you will feel you can't move. You might not even be able to move your eyes.
I did that one time.
It's a freaky thing. Luckily, I've never done that, but
Oh my God.
I've read stories about people that just have incredibly scary. Well, here's the reason why it's scary, because you're in dream mode. And when you're in dream mode, anything can happen. You can see anything and think of anything and feel like you're flying or whatever it is when you're in dream mode. So when your body wakes, when your mind wakes you up and you're still in that sleep dream mode because you're paralyzed, it can be very frightening if you have night paralysis, because you can see things that aren't real.
Oh my God. You just reminded me of when I got woken up in this one time. You know how when you wake up and you try to scream in your dream and you wake yourself up trying to scream in your
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, how?
Yep.
So I was in Hawaii. I was going through a separation, and I was at our apartment. And actually, it was my my daughter's mom's apartment. And a friend of hers from her work opened up the door, and it was putting her bag in there.
Yeah.
And the door opened, and my fight or flight mode kicked in because I was in the Marine Corps.
So fight.
Like protection, because my daughter was right there in the crib, right there.
Oh gosh.
And so I see this, I wake up and and I couldn't talk. And somehow I was able to get up, but I was screaming like, oh, I couldn't scream. And I just remember this vividly. And I finally was able to, I was like trying to get you're right. My motor skills, nothing was functioning. I don't know how, but I was able to somehow crawl. I couldn't even get up to walk.
That's crazy.
I was able to somehow crawl to the door, and it was just like my hands were limp, and I was just trying to get to the door. And finally, I was able to get to the door, and I was able to stand up a little bit, open it. And I opened up the door. It was midnight or early in the morning, late at night, whatever. And the street lights were on and stuff. And finally, I see him running to the car, and I'm like, what are you? And I couldn't tell him. I was just like, what are you doing? And then I realized that it was my daughter's mom, and apparently he dropped off her bag, and it was right there by the door. And I realized what happened. He dropped her bag off for work or whatever it was. But man, it was a freaky feeling.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
it'd be unsettling. That's where they Freddy Krueger, the movie franchise was actually inspired by like a sleep paralysis where you can be awake and dream and it seems real, but that's why that guy, they're
Like sleepwalking.
well, you can see things that aren't real, so you can see monsters, right? And so the guy that wrote, I can't remember the director, writer that did those, famous guy, and that's what led
Steven Spielberg.
No, it's I can't remember who did Freddy Krueger.
We can ask Google.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger is.
You mean the director?
No, the director. Who was the writer director?
Okay, Google, who is the writer director for Freddy Krueger?
According to Wikipedia, a film director controls a film's artistic and dramatic
Okay,
aspects
stop.
and
Let's
visualizes the screenplay while writing the film crew and actors.
I beat Google. This is how good I am. I beat Google, but I did use Google. I just typed it in.
They even did the wrong thing. They what director.
But I think that's kind of there's a culture that believes that a spirit can come into you and give you these bad dreams and keep you paralyzed when you sleep. And I think that led to him writing these horror movies. But anyway, getting back to the I don't know what I got. I don't know why I got off on a tangent, but AFib, I got it corrected in 2020. So at that point,
That's my fault, sorry.
yeah, that's all right. It's all good. That was interesting discussion. But in 2020, I had what's called ablation, and that's where they go into your heart and they literally cauterize the wall where the signals come to the heart from the lungs, and they cauterize each of the nerve endings in that chamber or in that area of the heart, and it basically acts as a shield to the incoming signals. So your heart still beats, but it's less likely to get off track when you have ablation. So it keeps you in sinus rhythm. And so thank God, since that point, it's been gone.
Okay.
I don't have AFib anymore. Now I can last, in my last 5 years, in my last 20 years, it might never come back. We don't know.
Right.
But you can have ablation more than once, which is a good thing.
Sure.
It actually gets more successful. You know, if somebody has an AFib and they're healthy enough to go under, this is one of the best ways to fix it.
Sure.
And each time you do a procedure, it's more and more likely to stop the AFib.
Right.
Instead of, becoming less likely because you're overdoing it. It doesn't work that way with ablation. So I feel confident that if it comes back at some point, I'll be able to do it again.
I kind of remember hearing something one time. I don't remember if I read this or if I was watching a podcast or saw it online. But somebody told me when someone is having challenges with their heart, sometimes they have to stop their heart
Yes.
and restart it to get it back on track. So is that accurate, what I've heard?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, I think one of the NFL players, Cardinals defensive end, what's his name? He just retired. He's retired. Not Bosa, but JJ Watt.
JJ Watt, yeah.
I think he just experienced AFib for the first time. So he has what I guess he has early onset AFib as well, because he's in his I'm assuming he's in his 30s. And he, you know, I think he had to have the electrical shock to stop your heart and restart it, and then it gets it into rhythm. Luckily, I never had to do that. Mine would always stop. However, before I had my ablation procedure, I was having AFib sometimes 18 hours a day. That means my heart
that's a lot.
my heart would go, it would go like this, and then it would just shoot up to like 150, and it would stay there all day long. Like like you're working out when you're just sitting there. So you're sweating, you know, and
That's incredible.
yep. And then eventually it would go up to that really high peak, and then it would stop and it would go away. So it was really weird how mine was. So at that point, the doctors were like, let's not, because I was using medication. And they were like, let's go for the electrical ablation.
Well, that makes sense why you took some time off. You had to get your mental health, your personal, physical body,
Yes.
your heart back in on track.
Yeah. And I kept writing, and I'm in a creative field. I work for a company called Envisionative with an N.
Little plug there.
Yep. And and you've been to the office, right?
I've been there 3 times.
Yeah. Very creative space in Mooresville, downtown on Main Street.
Twice when you weren't there though.
Oh, really?
Doors were locked.
I didn't know this.
I wiggled the latch. to
Dude,
see if it would-
he was with the Marines. I'm not sure which, yeah.
No, you weren't there. I popped in there, so you were there a couple times.
Yeah.
I've only been to your office that one time when you showed me around.
Well, my business partner, who was always there when we weren't working remote, we're almost all working remote now, except for me. And the joke was, especially with the veterans at Richard's Coffee Shop in Mooresville, you know, they'd come by and it was always David at his computer. And so the joke was Ansel never works because I was never in the office. But it's just a joke. But I'm very efficient, you know, and I can do a lot of different things while I work, so it's cool. But I'm a creative director there, so having that creative stimuli on a constant basis allowed me to stay creative, you know, and write songs. So I never stopped writing songs.
Right.
I wrote a few like breakup songs. I wrote songs that are out on this album that are, you know, I wrote during that time.
We need to get together. I have a song that I came up with. I haven't written all the lyrics to it, but I came up with it in the 80s.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter how
I'm dating myself, but it's 2 separate songs, and I remembered the main lyrics or something, but I still need to write music around the second one. But man, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna say it here, but that'd be cool if we can collaborate and maybe get these 2 songs that I've had done. They're actually really cool songs. And
No,
to
that's
this
awesome.
day, 30 years later, no one has ever sung anything close or resembled to the 2 that I came up with. And
that's cool.
It's almost like a poem, and I'm pretty proud of it. Now, I originally came up with the one when I lived in Pacifica, California.
Okay.
I had just broken up with my girlfriend, and it's this whole ride on my motorcycle leaving her house late at night. And it was the ocean. I lived right next to the ocean, Pacifica, and I was going down this dark. Let's see, I'm already not going to say too much because I'm telling you that. But anyway,
I was wondering where that car name came from.
Yeah.
Pacifica.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So this, it was just like I was like hurting inside and just feeling all these emotions of like, did I make the right decision? And let me tell you why I broke up with. She was my fiance, and she told me.
Oh, so it's a breakup song.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she told me she never wanted to have kids.
Well, that's.
And I was, I think it was 18 or 19. It was right before I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So I literally changed my entire life
Well,
because I've never told the story. So those of you that are watching and listening right now, this is exclusive from the Ironman life.
Debut story.
So I'm not going to get into the total details because I don't want to give away the lyrics that I have, but I'd love to collaborate with you with that if you're interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I broke up with her, and it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I was going down this dark lit light and right next to the ocean, and there were certain things that were occurring, which is part of the song, and it was pretty cool. And but yeah, I ended up breaking up with her, and then I was wondering if I should have done that. Did I make the right decisions? And then shortly after that, I ended up going to the recruiter's office, and I just joined the Marine Corps, and I now the Marine Corps, and it disappeared.
Do you have a daughter?
I have 4 daughters.
You have 4 daughters, so you obviously made the right decision, right?
Yes,
Yes, that's what you gotta say next.
yes.
Because if you were married to somebody that didn't want kids, you may not have those daughters.
Correct. Yeah.
So there you go.
So yeah, so I ended up breaking up with her, and yeah.
I have a similar experience because I got remarried after my brutal divorce, and luckily I did not have a child with that wife. And I've got 4 boys, and one's a stepson, but I consider him a son. So you got 4 boys, and then her and I, my wife, her name's Johanna. We had a child unexpectedly because all my boys are older.
Gotcha.
And that was in 2020 during the pandemic.
That's the one you keep telling me about that you have to go
So,
watch.
Sophia.
Oh,
And I never thought I could have a girl. So I finally did have a girl, and it was, after all this trauma I went through and meeting Johanna, and then not really planning to have kids.
sure.
And then just out of the blue, we have Sophia, and it's a girl, and I'm like, what? And never thought she's great. She's 2.5.
2.5.
She's amazing. She's a little actress. She's already drama, and
That's fantastic.
if you go to my TikTok, you'll see videos that I do with her. But she will literally plan it out with me, and she's 2.5.
Oh, how cute.
She will practice for what she's doing
Wow.
because she knows what I'm trying to do.
Sure.
So she will do it for me without being on camera, and then she will repeat it and do it on camera.
And add a little flair.
And add a little flair. And
That's so
so she's already got the entertainment thing in her like me, but I would never have her if I didn't go through that traumatic experience, right?
Absolutely.
And in fact, I probably wouldn't have ever had kids again if I just stayed down. I would have never had her, and the boys, they're all about their mother, so now gives me sure, my princess, my other princess, I should say. I got 2 princesses.
Yeah. And you mentioned you had a stepson, is that?
Yeah, stepson.
So I actually have 2 stepsons currently right now. One's the United States Marine Corps, active duty. He just got his gunnery sergeant.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like a couple months ago, and him and his wife are actually being deployed to Japan for I think 2 or 3 years.
So that would be fun.
For a while.
I would totally be into that.
Yeah, so
I want to go to Japan. I really do. My dad was during the final years of his Navy career, he did speeches on ethical conduct in the Navy or the military, and he would fly in the vice president's plane all over the world. And one of the places he went a lot was Japan from Hawaii, because we were living in, I don't remember if we were living in Hawaii. No, we weren't in Hawaii, but he was going to Japan as part of that tour. So I got jealous that he was able to, yeah, and on Air Force too. I guess that's what they call
the second.
And Dad, if I'm saying that wrong, you can correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember.
Your dad will be listening to this later, I'm sure.
Yeah, but anyway, to me, it was Air Force too. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but it sounds cooler. I'm pretty sure it was though.
I got to go to Camp Foster when I was in the Marine Corps. So those of you that don't know, I was in the Marine Corps for approximately 9 years. And so when I was with First Beach and Port Operations in San Jose, California, we did our ATD and we got to go to Okinawa, Japan in '89, right during the earthquake. The big earthquake.
Yeah.
In 87.
Yeah.
Was it 87? Yeah. The A's and San Francisco Giants.
Oh yeah.
So I was during the game, we were in Okinawa, Japan.
Oh wow.
And that big earthquake, man, they made it sound like
that's where the road pancakes.
Yeah, the Oakland
Yeah, the Oakland. It was in Oakland, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna say it wrong. I should know how to La Pareda. I can't even remember how to pronounce it. It was Lou Pareda or something like that. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, but yeah, it collapsed and it was pretty destructive.
Oh, yeah,
It was
very
bad.
destructive. That's where all the rumors came out that California was gonna fall into the ocean.
Yep.
It was during that time period and after it really, people were, yeah, at some point California is gonna fall into the ocean.
Yeah, they just got hit with huge weather right now. A bunch of the piers are severely damaged. I'm talking about Capitola Pier, Santa Cruz Pier, and a few other piers. They're just devastating. Where my daughter lives right there in Half Moon Bay with her boyfriend and her sister.
Okay.
And one of Surface Beach, which is right next to Half Moon Bay, they had some severe waves that came in and took out the stairs that go down to the beach and the concrete sidewalk, took chunks of it out and threw it up onto into the sidewalk and into the street. Waves.
Oh, gosh.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah, so they got some serious waves. Matter of fact, they just had a video of it.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, pretty crazy.
yeah, that's not good. Yeah, California is an interesting place. I love visiting California, so I've been there a bunch of times.
California is beautiful.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got amazing places to go to visit, to see. It's just beautiful. You can,
The high Sierras are amazing.
Lake Tahoe,
Yeah.
you got Yosemite. You can go snow skiing, surfing, and water skiing all in the same day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a cool, geographically diverse.
The politics aren't so fun.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I'm here in North Carolina right now. You're able to open carry amongst other things, and the rules are just so much more Second Amendment friendly, I should say.
Yeah, and so I have another song called Middle of the Madness that came out last year after, so that was the first song that I wrote after my AFib adventure. And it's really what I was coming back for. And I teamed up with the TikTok cop, Nate Sylvester.
Yes.
Okay, he was just on Dr. Phil a few months ago. And we teamed up and I told him so we collaborated on the song. I wrote it with a couple of guys, Brent Bowers and Harrison Foreman, and then recorded it with Eddie Snuggs, Snuggs Records, and and then I got COVID twice.
Oh, no.
So I was coming back, I get COVID right as I'm launching Middle of the Madness, I get COVID. And I lose my voice. I have to use steroids on my voice. I got a bad cough. So my voice was gone for like 3 months. And then I get back in the studio. And what happens? I get COVID. I get the Omicron COVID virus. And same thing happens. I lose my voice. But the Omicron was worse than the Delta because I got a fever, body aches, chills. And then that lasted a day. And then I lost my voice again. And then I coughed and I couldn't sing for another 3 months. So I wasn't back in the studio until later in 22. So I never really launched Middle of the Madness. I launched it, but I didn't do anything for it. So people really don't know about it yet, but it's called Middle of the Madness. It is on Spotify and Apple Music as well. And you can maybe put a link up for it.
Do you want to do a quick little 30-second?
Yeah. You want me to just email it to you real quick and you can, would it be easier if you just played it, or do you have a way to you don't have a way to play
I'd have
it?
to run down to
Oh.
my tablet.
So we'll do the microphone again and people can.
I mean, I can if you want to set it up. You want to? I'll
No.
just run and go get my tablet. I should have brought it with me. Never mind. It's right here.
Yeah, let me.
I don't have that many devices. I'm tapped out at the moment.
But this song, I'll just preface the song with why I wrote it, and why I wanted to write it, with Nate Sylvester being a collaborator on it. He went through a really dire situation, even though he's become kind of famous.
I don't know why it's not working on this. It should be. I mean, it literally should have worked on your. You can plug that into your cell phone. Well, what's going on in your cell phone?
Oh, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it with my cell phone.
Plug that into your cell phone.
That won't go into my cell phone.
Which port do you need?
The thunder lightning or whatever it's called. for an anthem.
It's it should be right there. I thought both of them were right there. Yeah, both you.
I only saw this one. And I don't see it on the floor either. I did see, like, when you had it over here, oh, it's connected to your phone, that's why. It's still connected. You moved it. That's why.
There we go. I'm like, where'd it go? So, hey, while you're setting that up, I'm gonna do another sponsor acknowledgement. Hey, everyone, thanks for being here today. This is the Ironman Mike Show. We are doing a live recording here in Mooresville, North Carolina. And I'm here with Ansel Brown. It is, it's Wednesday, January 11th, and we're in the Ironman Mike podcast studio. And I want to thank you all for being here. Real quick, we have AJ's Bike Services. If you'd like to get your bike work done, reach out to ajsbikeservice.com. And also we have mvautotinting.com. mvautotinting.com. Check them out. If you need to get some tinting, if you need to get some any type of decals made, they can ship them to you. You can go to their website, mvautotinting.com. Check them out, and also ehnsplanning.com for your emergency action plans, your emergency environmental health and safety needs and service. Reach out to them. Check them out. ehsplanning.com. All right. You all set?
Oh yeah. So let me preface this song real quick with why I wrote it with Nate. He lost his job because he said something that was really meant to be kind of funny and at the same time just about common sense. And sure, I'll just hold this like this. I mean, well, actually. So he got fired because he said something about LeBron James in a video that he did on TikTok. And in that video, he basically just says something that just it's just common sense. It's about like, well, what do if somebody's killing somebody else or trying to kill somebody else, should you call LeBron? That's basically what he said. And he got fired when he was doing these types of videos all along. He got fired, lost his job. So this song is really, I want to respect. I try not to be political, even though I am a pro, veteran, fiscal conservative. I'm socially pretty liberal, but at the same time, I try not to I know that people that listen to my music are from all walks of life. So I really believe that it's not the place for artists to really be activists, even though, and we can have a whole discussion on this, because in pop culture today, it's become the end thing to be an activist.
Stay in the middle of the road.
Yeah, because, you'll
lose fans.
So you're using your fans to become rich and famous. And when you get to a certain level, it's okay for you to alienate half your fan base. And I just think it's wrong. And I think it's selfish. And I'm not saying that people can't help with causes that they believe in. But if you make it your platform instead of your music being your platform, let your music and the lyrics speak for themselves, because there are plenty of political songs out there that, from the day music was invented, people have written songs about life. So a lot of that has to do with politics and, causes and things that you've been through in your life and what you believe in and all that good stuff. Let the music speak for you, and maybe try not to piss off half your audience, whether you're conservative or liberal or in between. Maybe try to find other ways to be an activist that's not quite as alienating. That's just my personal view. But we wrote this song, and people have a lot of bad things on the liberal side. They say a lot of bad things about the TikTok cop, Nate Sylvester. And I can tell you firsthand that he really, I told him I didn't want to write a song that was just looking at it from one perspective. And I wanted to make it more for everybody, because we all walk in different ways in our lives, and we grow up in different ways. So I made a point in the song to talk about the fact that I grew up a certain way, where I believe in our police. I support our police, our military veterans. I love the red, white, and blue. I stand with the red, white, and blue. But it doesn't mean that if I didn't grow up a different way and I didn't have certain experiences, I might not feel the same way. I might want a change, right? And so I put that in the lyrics, because I wanted to have respect for people that have been through different things that I may have never experienced.
Right.
But we can't be stupid, is the basic gist of the song. We can't just get rid of the police. There are bad apples in every segment of life. Military, police, firefighters, doctors, nurses. There are bad apples in every one of them, right? There are. You just can't help it. We're all human. So, but you don't just say defund the police and think that a bunch of social workers can take over and take care of all these domestic violence. You know, that's where people get killed.
Right.
And so really this song is just about saying, listen, we're not superstars. We're not like the rich and famous. We can't afford bodyguards and a gate at our front, in our front yard to keep people away from our homes. That's not the normal person. And so this song is just saying, I know that people grow up and have bad experiences with police. I've seen it. But not all police are bad. Not all police are good. There are both. And I wanted to make the point that I back the blue. I will always back the blue, and it's common sense to me. And it should be common sense to everybody else. And that's really what the song is about. And so Nate did a great job at saying, yes, I want all of this to be a part of it. I don't need it to just lean one way. But don't get me wrong, I back the blue. I mean, I really do. And I hope more people back the blue by listening to the song. But also I hope that I can bring people that maybe didn't have the same experiences, and maybe get them to kind of see that maybe you don't need to be so anti-police. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
That's really why I wrote the song.
Fantastic.
And so I'll play it here. Let's hope that it works.
Yeah, we're just setting that up. I have a friend who I served in Boy Scout and also in the Marine Corps with. His name is Richard Berry. Shout out to Rich. What's up?
So Richard Berry.
Comment, Rich. Richard Berry is a Fayetteville police officer. He lives out there. It's about 2.5, 3 hours drive from here.
Okay.
And I've gotten an opportunity to meet up with him a few times now since I've moved here to North Carolina. And I have many other Marine Corps veterans that I served with. I also back the blue as well. I have friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with you. There is bad cops, but there's a lot more
Good cops.
than there is bad
Exactly.
cops.
It just like there's a lot more good military people than there are bad.
Correct.
And but you're gonna have bad things happen in every segment. It's just a fact of life, and you can't control that no matter what you do. If you get more social workers out there, you'll have bad social workers too. Yes, that'll happen.
I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say, in every single industry, and I would say that you have a majority of workers, the workforce, that are really good trying to do their job day to day.
Yeah.
But then in every industry, you got some bad employees that just suck.
Every
Every
segment.
living life out of you.
Yep.
And they're just horrible.
Yep.
So
And they don't care, and they don't want to be there, and everybody knows it.
yeah. Why are you here?
Yeah.
We need
I mean, I get you need to earn a living and
Sure.
support your family, but at least.
Their passion is not there.
Yeah, and that makes a difference, right? I mean, I guess if you're not doing anything that's customer facing, it's a little bit easier to get away with having people like that. But we'll have bad social workers. That'll be the next phase. If you have more social workers than cops or police officers going to homes for domestic violence or whatever, you're going to have people that are not good on the social side doing that as well. So it just, they don't have a gun necessarily, but you know what I mean? It's,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, so this is called Middle of the Madness. It's on, you can find it on YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever. And it's just Ansel Brown, Middle of the Madness. And I think this is I'm gonna play the one, I've never played this one, but this one has kind of a intro piano tune.
Oh, nice.
And I sing a different way. So it's like a slow start and then it gets into the upbeat song. But it talks about like losing somebody that I knew because there weren't enough police around. So I didn't release this. So you're the first one. I'm debuting this on the Ironman Mike Show. I am debuting the original version of the song that we did not release.
Fantastic.
So here it is. It's Middle of the Madness.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. If you need to.
I like that.
Yeah. You need to use the restroom, it's right there.
That change.
It was opened it up to allow a little bit more light coming in.
Yeah, it sounds, it helps.
All right, hey man, that is a fantastic song. Wow. Hey, you're hearing an exclusive here on the Ironman Mike Show. I have Ansel Brown here in the studio, and
Oh, okay, real quick before I ask you a question about it, I'm gonna have to call you out on, and call you on the spot here on something. I'd love to have you help me with an intro, which I think you mentioned earlier for the Ironman Mike Show. I need some really cool intro music for beginning of the Ironman Mike Show. So maybe we can work on that. That'd be awesome. That was awesome. Tell us about your song.
Yeah, so if you listen to the lyrics, it was very in your face in terms of the way I was brought up. And if I hadn't been brought up that way, if my yesterdays and used to be's weren't like they were, I might not feel the same way and I might want to change. But we can't be survival of the fittest, because that'd just be survival of the richest. And really that's the gist of the song. We're not movie stars with bodyguards. You know, we don't get the same, or we're not afforded the same protection. And I can tell you just firsthand that people in the communities where most of the strife has occurred, where it comes to the reputation of the police, those communities want the police. And I'm talking about communities where there's more crime. And if you go into those communities, they're not trying to get rid of the police. They want the police. And it's like you said, there's a few bad apples everywhere, and but there are way more good police than bad, and they really want to help the community that they work in. Not saying there aren't people that just do it as a job and don't care, but almost every police officer that I've talked to over the years, they're doing it because they have a passion for it. It's what they want to protect and serve.
They care about the public.
Oh yeah, and like I said, there's bad apples. We get it, but don't let that ruin it for everybody else. And I think, you know, this song really does talk, like if you read the lyrics, it absolutely has respect for different viewpoints. You know, but it can't be survival of the fittest, because it's just survival of the richest. And the media and the way that they you know, cover things, and you know, and a lot of this started with the pandemic, right? So you have a lot of people being held down and being, you know, kept in their homes, and there was a lot of control happening. And then that's where all of this defund the police movement started, was during the pandemic, because it's a vacuum.
Sure.
You had a way to mobilize. People weren't working. People had more time to put into their, you know, what they wanted to fight against.
Right.
And, you know, doesn't mean we don't need change. And it doesn't mean that we can't figure out other solutions, but you don't get rid of the people that are really there to protect and serve. And if you're trying to protect the communities that are less safe, you're not doing them any good by saying, let's not have them.
Right.
It's just not, there's no common sense in that thought. And if somebody wants to argue with me and say there's common sense, I want to know what the common sense is. What makes it a common sense move to defund the police? In fact, we're finding out now that they know they can't defund the police. It's not working in the cities that they've tried it in, and, you know, in Minnesota and in New York City and other places. So
Sure.
it's a and I'm trying not to be political. I really am. I really respect the fact that people have different viewpoints
Sure.
and experiences. When I was partners with Sean Gilbert, we were pulled over on a toll road up near New York, because we were going to visit his nephew, Darrell Rivas. I think he's been nominated for the Hall of Fame this year.
Oh, nice.
They called him the Island, I think. I got to hang out with him, and when we were going up there, we got pulled over, and Sean was driving, and he's, you know, 6 foot, you know, 6'6" African American male, and I can tell you the cop treated him different. I started talking to the police officer. I called him around to my side of the passenger side of the SUV. He was a different person to me. Now, I'm not saying that police officer was bad. I'm just saying there was a different perception that police officer had of Sean than he did for me. So I've seen it. Now, I haven't seen it to the level that, you know, people are accusing, you know, in terms of racism and things like that. But it was very, you know, it was apparent that he was thinking one thing with Sean and he was thinking another thing with me. So I'm not saying there aren't people that are doing things wrong and don't need to be trained better. I'm just saying we can't get rid of it. It's just not something we should do. And the pandemic is what caused all of this to explode. And so the song is partially about the pandemic. So in the middle of the madness of the sickness,
Right.
the media says, but none can ever witness.
Yeah.
How it all can fall apart with such a quickness. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So that's what my song is about.
Yeah, if you can send that to me, I'd be glad to play it on occasion.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. So yeah, it's so I've got more songs coming out. I'm working on I've got about 8 songs recorded that we're still working on. Those songs are not done. I do have a new song out on YouTube. It's called Buttermilk Creek, and it's on YouTube under Ansel Brown. And it's a really cool. I love that song. I just put it out about a month and a half ago, and it's not available in streaming stores yet because it's just the acoustic version that I did the video for.
Right.
But the full band version is coming, and that'll be available on. And I'll probably have the acoustic version at the same time available on Amazon and Spotify and everything. But it's called Buttermilk Creek. I'd love for you to check that out on YouTube.
Make sure you guys go on to his YouTube channel and subscribe.
Yeah.
And also subscribe here on mine as well. Don't forget. Click that notification bell.
Yeah, it's just Ansel Brown on YouTube as well.
I'll have all the links. I'll attach all.
Awesome.
I'll need you to send me a list of all your links. And you mentioned a few people, so we can do some shout outs, and I'll try and put them all, any hashtags you want on there as well. And we also have to put hashtags and shout outs for Richard's Coffee Shop in downtown Mooresville, North Carolina, because they've been fabulous. And that's where we met.
Yep, and I just rebranded. My agency just rebranded them, Envisionative, and we're incredibly proud of the work we did with them to kind of change their brand image, because it's a national treasure.
Absolutely.
And to now be associated, I've worked with them since around the Space Shuttle. When I did Our Country, I was brought in by the mayor of Mooresville to talk to the veterans at Richard's Coffee Shop.
Gary, right?
No, Miles Atkins.
Oh, Miles. Okay.
Yes, I was brought in to talk to the veterans. I didn't know about Richard's Coffee Shop. This was in 2012 when Our
Oh, this
Country.
is a different mayor.
This is same mayor.
Oh, is it same
Mayor, yeah, same mayor. I talked to the veterans. I'm a military brat. My dad was in the Navy for 30 years, so I had a natural connection. But when I got done speaking to the veterans, and I literally had to call my video production guy, and I said, we're going to do the video here. So we changed the video to be at Richard's Coffee Shop and at the Salisbury National Cemetery. And so I did it there, and so from that day, and when I was filming that video and I'm singing the song to the recording, to the video, and I'm sitting around all these Vietnam vets, and they're in tears as I sing. It was one of those other experiences that I talked about with the little girl in the hospital. The same thing. It was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had as a man. And it blew me away. So from that point on, I've been going to Richard's Coffee Shop every Thursday for 10 years.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I do miss an occasional Thursday. I think I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm there just about every Thursday. I hang out with the Vietnam vets out back, and we have our talks. Those guys, when I went through my divorce, even though I'm not a veteran, they treated me like I was one of them.
Absolutely.
They got behind me. They helped me stand. They helped me stay standing. They supported me. They loved me. I have an endearing love for Richard's Coffee Shop. It's my family. The veterans are my family. I've done tons of things with Richard's and other organizations that are related, like combat, bikers,
Sure.
all sorts of organizations. And it's really been my family.
Yeah.
And,
I love going there.
yeah, so when they came to me and they were having trouble with the brand, they were trying to figure out a way to attract, civilians to come into the coffee shop and see the museum, and not to think it's just a place for veterans, even though that's who is mostly there.
Sure.
But they wanted it to feel more open than that. So I rebranded it with my team at Envisionative, and did it pro bono. And we had all the board of directors at my office, and I was scared to death because it's, if you met some of these guys and ladies, they're wonderful, but they're opinionated.
Oh, yes.
They're very opinionated. And I was very scared that it was going to kind of turn into something more difficult than it ended up being. But when they got there and I was open and honest about what I felt about the designs we were presenting, they all kind of got behind it instantly. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced, because I didn't expect it with that board.
Right.
They're good people. I'm not saying they've got issues. It's just they're opinionated. And when you have a bunch of different opinions, it can be dicey as a
Sure.
designer,
Absolutely.
as a creative, to get it right, because you got to make everybody happy, or you got to try to. But they all got behind it, and I will say it's one of the most beautiful logos that we've done. A lot of love went into it, and if you ever get to Mooresville, North Carolina, please stop by Richard's Coffee Shop on Main Street in Mooresville, North Carolina. Check it out. The military museum is amazing, and you'll see our beautiful logo up on the wall and out front, and the big sign. And
it's a new one. I was actually there the morning when they put it up and erected it, along with a really cool new black awning. And I was actually standing right with Ansel Brown at the time with you. And man, that was pretty cool to watching it get erected and put up.
oh, it was awesome. And then the guy that I worked most closely with, David Parkins, won the Hometown Hero Award when we were revealing the logo at the place that Thursday. And he got surprised with a brand new Kia, I believe. Yeah, Kia. No, Hyundai. Sorry, Hyundai.
Monday.
Yeah, Hyundai. I can't remember the Sonata or something like that. Yeah.
Sierra, was it Sierra?
No, not
Sonata,
Sierra. Yeah, it's something like that. So he was in tears, and we were on the news. It was amazing. He does a lot of good with animals and traveling with animals to save them. And
Yes.
it was just unbelievably cool day. And
I'll definitely tag them on this.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have their link if you guys would like to stop by. Definitely let them stop by. You can get yourself a breakfast sandwich.
good prices too.
It's a coffee shop. There's some snacks in there. Going there.
Robin and her dog run the kitchen, and they're amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Richard's Coffee
Yeah.
Shop, everyone.
Yeah, it's just it's an unbelievable place. It really is a place where you go and you can have the most boring or bad week. And if you go to Richard's Coffee Shop on a Thursday morning when all the vets are there, oh my gosh, it changes your whole trajectory for the week.
And on Saturdays, every Saturday morning,
Music.
8 till noon, they have live music. Bring your instrument, acoustic guitar, and you can jam with them. Matter of fact, they invited me to bring my guitar.
Yeah, that's awesome. You should do it.
Speaking of guitars, I've got mine just eyeballing you. And then you have a new song called Country. How does that go?
Oh, Our Country?
Our
No, that's the one that I do. I'm not a musician.
Oh,
I don't play an instrument.
That's you.
Well, I can play
That's why
piano.
you played.
No, I can
That's
play.
why I threw that guitar there.
I can't play on stage. I'm too dumb. And my brain doesn't work like that. And I'm so engaged with the audience when I perform that it would be hard for me to do that anyway, because I want to engage with the audience. And sometimes I disappear from the stage and I'm with the crowd, and my band is wondering where I'm at. So it'd be hard to do that with the guitar. But no, that's one of my, that was something I had to get over with in Nashville, because everybody just assumes if you sing country, you play guitar.
Oh, okay.
That's what everybody assumes, but there are people that can barely play guitar that they stand up on stage and they act like they're playing. They're, maybe not even plugged in.
Sure.
But I'm I'm not naming names, but I've seen it.
That's fun.
And I just, my producer told me, he said, because I had it was like a stigma, right? It was like, I think that's the right word.
Mick Jagger, he just sings.
Well, I was embarrassed because as a country artist, just people expect it, and I'm more of a front man. I'm more of a like that.
Lead singer.
Yeah, and maybe I needed to be in a rock band. I don't know, but my producer told me, he said Ansel, and this is a famous producer. His name is Cliff Downs, and he's an amazing man. And he said, Ansel, he said, you know how many good guitar players there are in Nashville. He's like, you are. It's kind of like what I said about songwriters earlier. Don't not use songwriters because you write your own songs, because there are too many good ones. It's the same thing with lead guitarists and guitar players. Is they're good for a reason, and they're better than you. So get out of the way and sing and let them play. And so when I started thinking of it that way, I was like, it's cool. I'm good with it. I can't play guitar on stage. Who gives a rip? It's never stopped me. Yes, I have to use an accompaniment version of my song if I want to sing by myself.
Right.
But it's pretty easy to find guitar players that want to play, acoustics with you or whatever. And I can do that when I want to. And I want to learn guitar, but I'll never be good enough. I don't think in my mind. I just don't think I'm focused enough to be able to learn it good enough to play on stage. I'd rather learn piano, honestly, and get better at piano than guitar. I like piano better. I love, playing the piano. So
I got the keyboard out
yeah,
there.
I just can't play my own stuff.
Yeah.
I can make music though with it.
I'm literally self-teaching myself right now, so I'm literally just learning chords.
Yeah.
Kind of do at the guitar.
Well, and that's I'll tell you what one of my other producers said. He said, hang it in the bathroom. And every time you're in the bathroom, use it.
There you go.
And you'll learn. So I thought that was funny. Sorry, Brent, if I let your secret out. But he keeps telling me I got to do that. So I'll try to do that. And maybe one day I'll surprise everybody and play one of my songs and sing it. But I'm not that talented. I've always written with other writers, so I always collaborate because I can get the melody, I can write the melody. But you need music, and you need real backing music. And sometimes if you're not a musician, it's a little bit more difficult to finish a song. So I always team up with somebody that can play really, really well, and that helps me finish my songs. But they're typically my creations. And then I get somebody on the back end helping me close the deal. And so every song that I've written is usually something that I did create, and I'm just not a musician.
Gotcha.
Well, I guess my instrument is my voice.
You want to play it then?
Our Country?
Our Country.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
like that song.
Okay, so this has Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, in the beginning, and you want to plug your
Yeah. Hey, this is the Ironman Mike Show, and hey, make sure you subscribe to my podcast on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search Mike on Instagram and YouTube, Mike Urueta. That's Mike, M-I-K-E, U-R-U-E-T-A. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. The 100th subscriber, I'm going to be sending them an Ironman Mike tumbler.
You need this. You do.
Yes, you need this. I'm going to send it to you. If you're here in the United States, no postage necessary. I'll send that on our dime. If you're out of the country, unfortunately, though, you'll have to pay for shipping. Other than that, I appreciate you being here. And once again, this is the Ironman Mike Show. And don't forget to subscribe.
Autobots, roll out. Here goes Our Country. Peter Cullen and Ansel Brown. I'm crying right now because I can only think about the standing in front of a Richard's coffee shop, recording this with the veterans, and how many are gone now. That's what I think about when I hear the end of this.
The song is very powerful.
Sorry. Are you okay?
We've lost, like, since the pandemic, we've probably lost 30, 35, next 30, 35 veterans, World War II guys that I used to hang out with. From the pandemic itself and just life in general, just losing, veterans are getting older and older. And but again, filming that with all the people that I filmed it with and how many are gone now. If you watch that video, so many of those men and women, gold star moms that are gone. And that's all I think about when I hear the end of the song. So I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. This song is very powerful and has a lot of meaning. And you're just being you.
Yeah.
I did a podcast, you really made me cry, and everyone you cry.
Yeah.
And appreciate you being very vulnerable and sharing this amazing song. I had no idea that he was going to cry. Everyone, don't send me any hate comments.
I'm sorry.
No, don't even be sorry.
Yeah.
It's a powerful song. If the artist himself brings himself to tears, can imagine what our audience is going through as well. I'm a veteran, and this song means a lot to the United States of America. We got the United States flag here in the background. And this song is so powerful. I remember the first time you shared it with me, it really resonated with me, and it hit me certain ways as well, because I've lost friends.
Oh yeah.
I've lost veterans that I served with, and it's a powerful song, and I appreciate you sharing that here. And
I appreciate you letting me. And it took 4 years to write and record that song, and it's really just about America and United States and where we come from and where we're going, and the things that we're afforded in this country that you can't find anywhere else in the world, and the men and women who really made that possible. So it's
I appreciate you, man.
yeah, no, I do. I appreciate you letting me get emotional on your. Yeah, I do speeches on vulnerability, by the way.
Nice.
And yeah,
When did you record this with the veterans? It was right before I got here, right?
2012.
Oh, you did it with the veterans in 2012.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember when I first met you, you mentioned that you're about to, or you already did the recording.
Oh, no, I was talking about doing my CD release party with the veterans.
Oh, got it.
I think that's what you're confusing it with, and I was probably talking about our country at the same time.
And that's when I had just met you, so
Yes.
maybe that's why I got confused. So.
Yeah, I was probably word vomiting to you and just telling you, because like I said, yes, the most interesting singer in the world claim is for fun.
Right.
But it's, I got it from the Dos Equis, most interesting man in the world,
Sure.
and really, but I want people to know that as a creative, we don't have barriers. We make our own barriers.
Right.
We can break our own barriers. And so really that's what that's about. It's like, do what you dream of. I think Ralph Waldo Emerson said something about, a man, you're not a man until you run a business, invented something, been an elected official in your he said something along those lines, and I read it when I was really young, and it kind of stood with me. It was basically saying, do whatever you have in your heart, do it. Don't just let it go by and not do anything. Try everything. I used to joke with people that I change my life every 5 years. I have a new life, and to some extent that's been true in my life. Going from an inventor, from a financial analyst to an inventor to a creative director, branding guy for national brands, to a country singer, to a philanthropist in some ways, and helping nonprofit organizations in different ways, back to being a branding guy, back to, and all of that kind of happened about every 5 years. So it was kind of weird that was like, because that's what I used to tell people, change your life every 5 years. And there's a lot of truth to that. And it doesn't mean that you have to uproot your family and give up on everything that you've done in your life. It just means try to be something that you want to be and change it up every once in a while. Don't just do the same thing your whole life.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean you got to quit your job and Ansel said change every 5 years, so I'm throwing everything out the window that I built up. It just means chase those things and don't give up on them, and don't not do them because nobody thinks you can be a singer. None of your family thinks you can be a singer. I don't even know if my dad today, I love my dad, but honestly, I mean, most of the time he's like, yeah, you need to tell your nephew he needs to be a singer. He needs to be doing, and it's not really about what I've done, but that's my dad. He's just, he loves what I've done. He just doesn't talk about it as much as he does my nephew.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I would be the first to tell my nephew to go for it.
No.
But you got to do what you dream of doing, or it will pass you by. And I can tell you, by taking 8 years off, I feel like a lifetime has flown by. And in my case, changing every 5 years, it is a lifetime.
Right.
It's more than a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I let my emotions dampen what I was doing. Who knows where my music would be today if I hadn't stopped? But I did. I made that choice to stop. Do I have regrets? Yes. But I did kind of live another lifetime in that time period where I did other things that I wanted to do. I built an agency, and I built a successful agency during that time period. So I was doing other things that I love doing. But still, I gave up on music, and I shouldn't have. So I have that regret. So now I'm coming back, and I'm not going to give up this time. Nobody may listen to me, but I'm at least going to do it, and I'm going to put it out there, and hopefully people will discover it. And my music is written from the heart, typically.
We're witnessing that.
Yeah, yeah. Probably too much of that.
No,
But
setting goals is huge.
yeah.
That's one thing I talk about a lot on a lot of my podcasts and my lives. Is not necessarily making a New Year's resolution, but set goals. Set some big goals, set some little goals, set goals that you can attain, and don't get depressed because you can't get to them.
Yep.
That's why you set little daily goals. Like I tell people often on my podcast, what I do every morning. First thing I do when I jump out of bed is I make my bed. You saw, I gave you a tour this morning.
He's a Marine.
I make my bed every day because that's your first accomplishment, and it makes you feel good about yourself.
That's a good way to look at it too.
When you set goals.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
That you're accomplishing your first thing of the day,
Yeah.
and that's to make your room feel a little cleaner.
Yeah. So when you come home at the end of the day, you got a clean,
Yes.
brand new, fresh bed to jump into.
My wife-
Day.
My wife makes me do that. So I do it. I wasn't in the military, so I can't relate to, the purified blanket
Saw how
experience.
So bounce it off on you.
I don't have that talent. No,
Yeah, but no, seriously, setting goals. And like if you want to be a singer, well, you need to write a column of list of things that you need to get accomplished in order to get this goal completed.
So talk about vulnerability again.
Sure.
Which you brought up when I was being vulnerable. And the reason why I speak about vulnerability is exactly because of that. Because if you don't allow yourself to fail, you will never know. You will never know if you can.
Exactly.
So if you don't make the choice to try what you believe you should be doing, or the gift that God has blessed you with, songwriting, or designing, or being the number one salesperson, or whatever, or being a podcaster, whatever it is, you have to be vulnerable enough to put yourself out there and allow yourself to either succeed or fail. And it doesn't mean that if you fail, it's over. It just means that it didn't go the way that you maybe thought it would, but you wouldn't have known that if you didn't try.
Exactly. Let me chime in and just share with our audience. So a couple of topics that I talk about often is emotional intelligence. And that's a little bit of a spin-off, but this book right here by Daniel Goleman, Leadership. This is an amazing read. This is the new one that he sent out, which I just ordered, just got it yesterday. I'm going to read this one.
And this one is about leadership. And those of you that are looking here, I'll read it. It's Daniel Goleman. That's Goleman. Leadership, the power of emotional intelligence. Second, selected writings. So this is a great read, and it talks about emotional intelligence with the leadership. And I'm telling you, it is it's just kind of in line with what we're talking about goal setting. You put your list together, and it's really your foundation of you setting your goals and you striving to accomplish something that you want to ascertain. And it's powerful. It's very powerful.
So going off of what you're saying and what we were talking about in terms of being vulnerable, my producer, when I was first recording in Nashville, actually in Franklin, Tennessee, he told me, he said, Ansel, don't ever perform here.
Where is this at?
Nashville.
Okay.
Music City. He said, don't ever perform here. You will be completely overwhelmed with, in other words, I will be overwhelmed with how talented even the waiters are in Nashville as singers.
Sure.
Because there's more talent in Nashville than you could ever imagine. And he literally,
like Hollywood.
he told me don't perform here. So guess what I did?
You perform there.
Yes. I said, I'm going to do it. And if I fall on my face, I fall on my face. But I went in and I started doing shows in Nashville for about a year and a half, 2 years on Broadway. And at a place called Cadillac Ranch was my main.
I know Cadillac Ranch.
Yeah, that was my main. Sean and I'm not going to say we owned Nashville, but we were pretty close to, we made a mark in Nashville. It might have been for a short time period, a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was.
They have a show there nationwide
Oh, really?
that I listened to back in California. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, that's cool. And I did it and I succeeded at it. I built a large following there. But what I realized is Nashville's not really where all the fans are.
Right.
And so I decided to not perform in Nashville after about a year and a half, 2 years. I can't remember, somewhere between that.
Mike Leatherman lived there for a while.
Yeah,
That's probably where you heard his name.
I was getting free drinks. I was dating bartenders. I could have been an alcoholic. We were all dating, the bands are dating, you're dating one girl and then 6 months later, another band singer is dating that same girl and you're dating the girl that he was dating. It's just a
Little flip flop there.
yeah, it's you can get sucked into that lifestyle and never get out of it.
Right.
So I decided I was going to start touring. So I started touring on my own after that, and just during the CMA Fest, that's when most fans are. There's a lot of fans at CMA Fest, so I would do CMA Fest all the time, and then but then I left and just did my own thing across the country, in my own way. And but I experienced it. I did it because he told me not to. So I guess I'm a rebel a little bit.
How it worked out for you?
I loved it. I had a really good time doing it, and I would just say. So I never got, what's the word? I'm saying the wrong word, but when you feel threatened by how good somebody else is than you, what is that called? There's a term for it.
Envious, jealous.
Yeah, like, I don't know if envious is the word or not, but just, you feel like you're not good enough to perform there because the talent is so incredibly high, but really it's still just about connecting. And so when I talk about vulnerability as an artist, I have to be vulnerable.
Sure.
If I'm not being vulnerable on the stage when I'm performing, then I'm not going to connect. So that's what you talk about the emotional, and that's why the book.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, your emotional intelligence, or EQ, for instance, you got to allow that to be what it is, because if you're not being open and you're not being somebody that can connect, it's harder to be an artist. I guess you could be an eccentric artist and not be able to, and be aloof and everything else.
Sure.
But there's still a reason why that person connected. It might just be because of the songs.
Reasons.
Yeah.
I think situations happen for reasons. I mean, those dots that get connected,
Yeah.
they happen for a reason.
Oh yeah, absolutely. but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I didn't. And he actually came to me later. He's produced Garth projects, and in fact, I had Garth's steel player playing on all my music, and I mean, it was just it was a surreal experience for me doing all of that. But when I got done, when I was in the middle of performing there, Cliff, you know, I think he was surprised. You know, he was happily surprised that I didn't hold back. And I had fun, man. I like I said, we kind of took over the place. You know, it's kind of cool when you have like a huge guy opening doors for you. Everybody automatically thinks that you're somebody. So that helped. You know, that I had an ex-NFL star with me all the time. That helped open doors.
Wow.
That got people to notice me right off the bat. So I did have that advantage, but I only got to do that because I made that relationship happen with him. And I connected because of other things creatively, and it turned into a friendship, and then it turned into a business, and it turned into launching an album together. And that wouldn't have happened if vulnerability wasn't involved.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I mean, when you show your vulnerability, I mean, it lets people know that you're a genuine person.
Yep.
That you put your pants legs into your pants and pull them up the same way everyone else does. And I think it's key to obtaining lifelong fans, to letting people know who you are. And then when they have that connection with you specifically, they feel that energy, they feel that connection, they see you crying, they see you being vulnerable, and that starts tugging on people's heartstrings.
Yeah.
And it really is empowering.
You know, to this day, I have people that were on my street teams that I connect with via text. To this day, all the way back to the beginning of the 2000s.
What are street teams?
So street teams where we used to, instead of social media, because we didn't have all the social media stuff that we have today, we had MySpace. This was back when I first started.
Sure,
So
I had MySpace.
Yeah, and I was actually the #1 independent artist on MySpace.
Oh, nice.
That's why I was able to walk into Nashville and make people believe that I was somebody, because I had really worked MySpace. And when it died, you know, it was kind of depressing to me, because it was the one place where music could really be shared and connected with individually. But I still have people like Tracy and Charlotte, and I'm not going to think of names right now, but
Speaking of MySpace, while you're thinking there, do you remember a content creator named Black Spider-Man?
yes, so I saw him. Well, no, I saw him on your Clapper account.
So I've interviewed him twice on the Ironman Mike Show. Him and I are actually really good friends. How well do you know him? This is funny.
I don't know him. I don't know him.
Oh, okay.
I just he has followed me. I follow him, but I don't know.
Do you remember him from MySpace?
I don't remember him from
Okay,
MySpace.
got it.
No, was he big on
He was
MySpace?
big. He was one of the largest creators on there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I should talk to him then, because that was a fun time for me.
Man, I should get him on the phone.
It was
You have a phone.
that would be cool.
His name is Ugo.
Ugo.
Yeah.
Ugo.
He's from,
How do you spell that?
Nigeria. I think he's born in Nigeria. UGO.
Okay.
Ugo.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. Very cool guy.
That is awesome.
He is so ripped. He is very ripped.
So he's a workout.
Oh yeah, he works out. He's an MMA fighter. He took first place in nationals in years ago, but he still trains and he works out at a studio.
I'm jealous of anybody that can get like that, because I've struggled with my weight. Yes, I saw that. Yes, I struggle with my weight. I've lost about 40 pounds since September.
Oh, congrats!
Um,
I did notice you did lose a little bit of weight. I'm
Yeah.
trying to lose some myself right now.
Yeah, I'm still trying to lose it, but I one of my clients had a weight loss program called True Weight Solutions, so I'm plugging somebody. And it's been amazing to me. And if I could turn people onto this product, It just consists of, you gotta eat in a smart way. So you eat like a meat, you eat a vegetable, and you eat fruit at every meal.
Sure.
And then you supplement your hunger with, water, vegetables like cucumbers and celery and things like that. Then you take these drops, and one is like a B12 drop, and the other is like
The drops, that's how you take it?
yeah,
Okay.
a B12 drop, one of their proprietary drops, and then a raspberry ketone drop. And I don't know how it works, but it's basically an inflammation diet.
Okay.
So it reduces your inflammation. And I can say without a doubt, I saw myself go like from this to this,
Nice.
and it's been an amazing journey for me. I'm still doing it because I want to I need to lose a total of about probably another 20 pounds.
Okay.
And so it's been a very hard thing for me to do my whole life. I've struggled with it. I've always been a big guy. I'm heavy. I don't look too heavy, but I am heavy. I'm heavier than I look.
Sure. Well, let me share something with you real quick. I would recommend as an Ironman Mike trainer, training for half Ironmans, full Ironmans, Spartan races. I've been in fitness and nutrition. I was a wrestler for 18 years. I've been in countless triathlons, 5Ks, 10Ks. I can't even remember how many I've done. But my suggestion is not worry about your weight and losing 20 pounds, because this is what I would suggest for you. And I've helped numerous people over my years with this, and I've done it myself. I'm currently doing it right now. It's not the weight. Don't worry about losing the weight.
Right.
What I would recommend and suggest is the following. So I have a website, and I'm trying to put together a program for people to go on there and they can help themselves with what direction they want to go. But if you start losing weight, and if your only focus is jumping on the scale and like, okay, I lost weight, and not working out, then you're not really getting your true scale, no pun intended.
Oh, true, absolutely.
But my suggestion, which I want to share with you, is if you start working out, doing your supplements, eating very healthy, a well-balanced meal, what's going to happen is you might not lose any weight. You might stay the same weight, but what happens is your waistline shrinks, inches shrink, pant size shrinks, and your physical, look in the mirror, see how you're looking. That's the key. If your belt loops are 1 or 2 notches less each month or every few weeks, that's a positive.
Oh, absolutely.
Positive.
That's kind of what this is doing for me. I mean, my problem is I've worked out, and I've worked out hard, and I still don't get smaller. And I've tried everything. I've tried keto, I've tried low carb, I've tried, restrictive diets, I've tried working out, extremely hard workouts, and programs, and I would never lose the inches. I've lost when I was a bit younger, I was able to lose some inches with the low carb diet. But really, since that point, I needed something that could get me over the hump. So my goal is to work out. My goal right now, though, is to get the inches down, to get to a certain size. And then when I say 20 pounds, I'm just meaning that's about what I think I'm going to lose when I lose those inches.
Sure.
And then with this system, my next stage would be working out. You're really not supposed to work out on this diet because you're burning too much fat as it is.
Sure.
And then you don't want to burn muscle.
Right.
So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you're getting enough protein if you do work out. So it's one of those things.
Okay.
But it's been incredibly positive to me because it happened in 60 days.
Wow.
I lost like 5 inches
Nice.
in 60 days. It's real.
I just noticed that you lost weight. Remember the other day when I
Well,
said
when I first met you, I had already lost a significant amount of inches when I met you, and I've lost more since.
September.
I did gain a little bit of weight during the holidays because I did cheat. I ate everything.
We all did.
Yeah, I ate everything that was put in front of me. But my goal is to get to my goal, And then I'm gonna start my workouts again and do my, you know, whether it's the cycling and but you know, and I know I gotta lift weights. That's probably my biggest deficit is weights.
You're welcome to come over
Yeah.
here. Come with
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that'd be cool. And I might do that because weightlifting is really where I think that would help me more than the aerobic stuff, you know, the stuff that's gonna get my heart rate up.
Mike, Ironman Mike's gym.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. We'll have to do that, and then we'll have another conversation. But this guy, Neil Pye and Adam, both kind of came into my life as a client, and they really did help me. Like it gave me the confidence to know that I could be thinner, and more healthy and feel better about myself. And that's awesome. So I just wanted to plug them because they've been, you know, they were a very big help to me.
Well, send me their link.
I will.
Send me an email with all these links.
Yeah.
That we've been talking about today, if you can remember them all.
Yeah, yeah. And it is a doctor-led, it's a doctor-led type system. It's not, you know, you don't want to just do it and not do it right. So they track you, they stay in touch with you, and they text you, and they make sure that you're reaching your goals. And if you're not, they tell you what to do if something happens. So it's been really, really helpful to me.
No, I think that's fantastic.
But I need an inspiration like you too for the weightlifting and the hardcore workouts. That
I
probably,
appreciate that.
I'll be a model at that point. That'll be my next 5 years.
So
Senior model.
there you go. So I'll give a quick little shout out to Joe Richmond, a friend of mine I've known since 35 years. She reached out to me and shared with me, and she was vulnerable. I won't give total details, but I ended up this morning sending her a workout video just on about 11 or 12 different exercises to reach her target area that she's looking at doing.
Okay.
In addition, she also does isogenics. So have you heard of isogenics?
I have heard of isogenics.
Yeah,
That's
so
where you do the ISO type.
It's a nutritional plan.
Oh, so maybe I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about, but I've heard of it.
Isometrics is what you're thinking.
Yes, it is.
Isometrics is more of a resistance.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that I do that every day anyway.
Okay.
And
Like
I
the
show-
skeleton on your front porch.
Yes. So
Wall
that's-
sitting.
that's-
Yeah, wall sitting.
Yeah, so those of you that are wondering what the heck he's talking about, I have a skeleton from Halloween.
Still
and-
up.
Still up, and I actually changed that for Christmas. Put Santa Claus,
Skeleton Santa,
yeah,
female.
female. It's my girlfriend right now on the front porch, and my family who are listening to this, please comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not your neighbor.
But this is a wall squat, It's a great isogenics to, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
But anyway, I sent her this morning a workout plan to help her with her targeted areas that she shared with me.
Oh, that's cool.
And she thanked me for sending it to her. I just did a few of each rep, a couple of reps of each one, just to show her how to do the exercise.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I'm trying to put together on my website, mikeureeta.com. Currently I got hacked, so if you go on there, it's some
Oh, gosh.
some vice that
My agency does websites too,
Yeah.
just so you know.
we might need to help me. My web designer got sick and he's having some challenges and he hasn't been able to, and I got hacked, so somebody
yeah.
in China.
Yeah, this good old WordPress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They redirected if you go to log on to my website right now, you can see
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking. WordPress is the most attacked platform in the world. So
Yeah.
we don't use WordPress. We use something called DNN.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm paying for right now for the next 5 years, so. Hey, if you want to help me get that, excuse my language, Mom, unfucked, I'd really appreciate it. But he's not
Well-
able to finish helping me.
What you should do is you should have David on your show with me at some point, and we can talk about business and you can get to know him, and maybe he can give you some help. We'll,
Yeah.
might be able to work that out, but he'd be an entertaining one to talk about technology.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. All right, let's schedule that. Dave. Let's
We're
get
a creative and a technology company and all in one.
Oh, so that's your company. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
The Ironman Mike Show definitely needs some help with mikeyreeta.com. Yeah, check out my website. Be careful though. It might go to
Viagra, it might go to real estate, might go to a porn site. It rotates between different businesses that they are going in and
Yeah,
out.
just watch out, man. Watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get that fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll work on that one.
Yeah.
But but back to working out. I feel like it's essential to your mental health. It helps with your personality. It helps with your emotion. It helps with your depression. If you get depressed, working out releases endorphins that are amazing for your soul, your body. When I don't work out for a few days, I get depressed. But the moment I work out, man, I just feel good. You look in the mirror, you feel good. Your clothes start feeling better. They fit you better, and man, it's just a great feeling.
No, that's awesome, man. We need
I've
to.
been working out for decades.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Wrestling, football. I did gymnastics. I did baseball. I played pretty much every sport that you can think of. Matter of fact, did you see my last one of my last videos I did? I still ride a skateboard, people.
That's crazy. I hate skateboards.
I do tricks
I-
on my skateboard.
I envy all of you that can ride on skateboards, but it's kind of like playing the guitar for me. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. I would fall and break my head open.
Well, you know what started with it is I didn't ride skateboard for 10, 15 years, and then so I have a 17-year-old, and when she was little, when she was about 5 or 6, I got her a little skateboard, and she loved it.
Yeah.
First got her a scooter. You know, the scooters that came out?
Yeah.
She loves the scooter, and then I got her a skateboard. I can't get her off the skateboard. So
that's cool.
as she's gotten older, she's all, Dad, take me to the skate park. So I'm like, okay.
Well,
So I went out and bought myself a new skateboard because I gave my really nice Santa Cruz skateboard away probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
I gave it to some kid in the neighborhood. So I went and bought myself a new one. And I would get better and better. I'm better now than I was when I was younger.
that's crazy. I saw your videos of the skate park that just opened, so that's pretty cool. I didn't see you skating, but I saw you covering the grand opening of it.
Yeah.
And you know, they say when the kids are young, if you teach them to flip and turn and that it develops in their brain. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a thing that happens in the brain.
Your equilibrium.
Well, it's
that one.
Yeah, but it's called the process is called something else. And I read about it somewhere. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But so I do that with my daughter all the time, and my wife gets mad at me because I'm constantly flipping her, constantly getting her to be, you know, in positions where she has to maintain her balance or whatever. And she's become very agile with her movements in like gym class and things like that. But I think when I was a kid,
I call it muscle memory.
well, that too. I mean, that's part of it. When I was a kid, you have a lower center of gravity than me too. So I just always feared skateboards. I don't know, but I think when I was young, my mom never flipped me, never did anything to turn me upside down. And the only time that I remember being upside down was falling off a slide and hitting my head. So I obviously got brain damage in the beginning, so I'm not able to do those things.
So not your equilibrium. It's
Yeah, they can blame my mom on that one.
what's it called? Somatic rhythm.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's.
I can't remember the word.
So I'm not good at flips. I wouldn't be a good diver. But I'm trying to make it so my daughter can maybe be a diver, you know.
Sure, that's sleep.
Yeah, that's sleep. Yeah, that
that's
is.
what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
yeah, you're right. And yeah, we can get into a whole bunch of different discussions if we do more of
Oh,
these.
man, I got a bunch of books that I read. I have them downstairs. I haven't brought them up in my library yet.
That's awesome. I'm more of a TV watcher. Unfortunately, I can't read. My attention span is too short. But I do love, you know, when I do get a good read, especially if it's, you know, something that's going to help me, I'll read it. Man, this has been cool for the first time.
I appreciate. Yeah, I'm in awe. I appreciate this long podcast.
It's very long.
Yeah, so
Sorry, everybody.
we've been rambling here, but hey, don't forget to subscribe to Ansel Brown's podcast. I have a podcast, YouTube.
I was gonna do a middle of the madness podcast. Remember, we could do a middle of the madness segment for your podcast.
So we actually talked about doing a weekly or
bi-weekly.
Yeah, middle of the
which
madness.
We never transpired into anything, but I think this could be the launch of it.
Yeah, and we can use my tune to intro the segment.
That would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Middle of the madness of the sickness, where the media says, but none can ever witness how it all can fall apart with such quickness.
This what's going on in the world.
Oh, acapella here. Ansel Brown in the studio. So, man, do you have any last plugs or anything you want to plug out before we sign off here?
No, just check me out on social and I try to talk about everybody that I work with in good ways on social. So you'll learn about who I'm working with, the people that I'm collaborating with, like Ironman Mike here, and my producer and my players and engineers and all that kind of stuff, and my agency and people that I work with every day, and the veterans especially. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's all a big deal.
Hey, if you guys like this podcast, we're going to do a follow-up podcast soon, and would love to have you make sure you subscribe to Mike Urueta on YouTube. I also do have a Spotify account. I haven't uploaded anything yet, but let me see if I can get this one up there.
Yeah, get on there.
And I have the account. I just haven't. I think I have one, maybe two videos on there, and I need to keep uploading some more. Also on Instagram. Under Mike Urueta, and I'll put the links on this in the description here. But love to have you guys, if you're able to help subscribe and hit that notification bar. And I will also have a donation button if you'd like to help donate. I am in the process of putting together a foundation. I'm gonna not share the name of it yet, just because I still need to lock that in. But I do help veterans. I've helped a lot of veterans over the years. Go to my Facebook page. I have I'll link the link here. It's called Extreme Sport 22, helping veterans reach their goals and their dreams with staying connected with athletics. And every day, 22 veterans commit suicide.
Yeah.
According to the statistics, this was back in 2016 or 17. I'm sure it's changed. It's gone up and down over the years.
Yes.
But I like to help veterans. If you'd like to help that out, I'll also attach my Venmo if you'd like to help donate. But I do help veterans, homeless veterans, with hotels, with clothing, and a slew of other things I've done. I've got videos that are online that I've shared with numerous people regarding that. But once again, I want to thank Ansel Brown for being in the house. Make sure you subscribe to his channels. I will link them. And man, today's been a great day. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Can we talk about UFOs next time though? Because that's really my passion now.
Are you serious?
I'm a UFologist.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys.
I know everything UFOs. I am connected to NASA. Don't forget, I've had 3 Space Act agreements. This is real.
So real quick, if you guys get ready to watch our next podcast, we're going to talk about UFOs, and I'm going to leave them with
UAPs. Sorry.
I'm going to leave you with the teaser, everyone. I saw a real UFO, and I will tell you the story about it. You got to subscribe and hit that notification bar and come watch the next podcast.
I've got 2 stories
with Ansel Brown. It'll be fun. All right, this will be a great segue.
I've got 2 stories.
All right. Hey everyone, Ansel Brown. You want to cue up one of your songs and we'll fade it out?
Sure, let's do Buttermilk Creek, the acoustic version. Yeah.
All right, everyone. I'm going to start signing off and shutting off some of the lives. We got about 4 lives going right now and some recordings. So here's some music while I'm shutting everything down. Thank you so much for being here, everyone.
Thank you. Great being on your show. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming and being here and spending almost 3 hours. All right. Yeehaw. See everyone.